Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Masterpiece Story Time. I'm your host, Mr. Kirkland, and we'll be continuing our story, Treasure Island. Today we'll be reading Chapter 2, Black Dog. Not long after, something mysterious occurred that rid us of the captain, though not of his affairs. That winter was severe, and it was clear my father would not live to see the spring. He grew worse every day, and the inn was left to my mother and me to look after. Our hands were too full to worry about our unpleasant guest. One cold January morning, with a layer of frost on the cove and the sun still low, the captain rose earlier than usual. With glass in hand and hat tilted back, he trudged down the beach, his rusty sword swinging under his old blue coat. He strode along, snorting, as if still insulted by Dr. Livesey. Mother was upstairs with father, and I was setting the table when the door opened and a pale, waxy man with two missing fingers appeared. I'd been keeping an eye out for a man with one leg, and here was one who, though he didn't seem like a sailor, had something of the sea about him. I asked what he wanted. He sat down and motioned for me to come near. "Is this here table for my pal Bill?" he asked, leering. I told him I knew no Bill, but that the table was for a man we called the captain. "Well," he said, "old Bill would want to be called captain. Has a deepish cut on his cheek and a funny way about him. Now, is my boy Bill in this here house today?" I told him he was out walking, and he demanded to know where. When I told him, he stood up and made a mock salute. I didn't know what to do. This fellow had a strange manner, and he waited behind the door like a cat or a mouse. Soon enough, we saw the captain approach. "Now," he said, "let's give Bill a little surprise." Saying this, he hid us both behind the door. I could tell he, too, was scared. His heavy breathing gave him away. He loosened his sword and stood ready. When the captain marched through, heading for his breakfast, the stranger called out, trying to sound brave, "Bill!" The captain turned as if he had seen a ghost. "Black Dog," he gasped. "Who else?" asked the thin man. "Ah," he said, "we've seen many good years since I lost these two claws." And with that, he held up his terrible hand. "Well," said the captain bluntly, "you found me. Now what is it you want?" The thin man then sent me away. I listened as well as I could to get a sense of their rude talk. Suddenly they started yelling. The chair and the table went over, and the captain with his drawn sword was chasing Black Dog, who started bleeding from his shoulder. The captain swung again and put a notch in the sign over our door that is there to this day. Despite his wound, Black Dog ran into the distance as if his life depended on it. The captain stood staring after him in a bewildered state. He ran his hands over his eyes, and then suddenly he fainted. The captain was laid out on the floor. When my mother came running down... let me start that sentence over again. The captain was laid out on the floor when my mother came running down the stairs. She called for me, and we both managed to raise his head. He looked pale as death. We could see his wound, but could do nothing to help him until Dr. Livesey arrived and examined him. "He's had a stroke," he said matter-of-factly. The doctor sent me for water and then ripped up the captain's sleeve, which revealed many tattoos. There was one of a man hanging from a noose, beneath which read the name Billy Bones. "Well," said the doctor, "we must now try to save this Billy Bones' life." And with that, he opened the captain's vein. Blood started pouring out, and the captain awoke crying, "Where is Black Dog?" "There's no Black Dog here. You've had a stroke, and I've saved your life. And that against my will." So saying, the doctor and I, with much trouble, helped the captain into his bed. He had drawn enough blood for the captain to lie at rest for a week. One more stroke like that, the doctor warned, and he would be finished for good. And that is all of Chapter 2, Black Dog. Please join me next time when we read Chapter 3, The Black Spot. Sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. See you next time. Bye, guys.